William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I welcome you to another Two Hats special of community events. Let's look in and see what's really happening.
And good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of Lambda Weekly. I'm Lerone Landis, here with Patti Fink, who's very much on time today. And David Taffet is off in New York this week. He'll be back next week.
Are we sure about that?
That's what I was told.
Maybe, he's a little staycation there, and maybe he's listening to the show. I don't know.
Well, maybe.
What do you think, Karen?
I agree. I got a message from him saying they needed a loudmouth to come. He would like to have a loudmouth to come chat with you all, and because I am subject to that sort of flattery, I was happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you. Before we get started with the show, I do want to remind it is still Pledge Drive. But we're almost there. We got just a little over $3,000 to go. It's under 3. Thank you, Gene. So we're under 3 now. Give us a call at 972-647-1893. Again, that's 972-647-1893. So if you have a checkbook and you want to write a check for about $3,000, do it. But if you don't have that much, we'll take what you got, because, every little bit adds up, and we can make a difference. Give us a call at 972-647-1893. And today, our guest, she wears a lot of different hats. She is a film producer, an activist, a speaker. She used to be a talk show host herself.
I am.
And today, she is our honorary co-host. Well, welcome, Karen McCrocklin.
I'm not sure how good my David Taffet impression is, so I'll probably just be me for now. But I can work on it.
No. I prefer that.
It would be a leg up from what we get with
Exactly. Thank you. We prefer that. Thank you so much for coming on today. So there's a lot to talk about. I guess maybe we should start with the big obvious headliner this week. Another sad shoulder report, and that was a school shooting. A school shooting in Florida that left 17 kids and some adults dead. And of course, the conversation seems to be the usual.
Here we are again. And what are we going to do different this time?
Yeah. So, suggestions?
Erin made an observation this morning. She goes, thoughts and prayers from our lawmakers is becoming so cliche that it's almost like, bless your heart.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
Well, and I think that there's been a great effort by a lot of people this week to call out those types of sentiments, particularly with elected officials who are recipients of ridiculous amounts of cash from the National Rifle Association and who pass along that propaganda at every opportunity. And, Marco Rubio is a great example. He's a senator from Florida, and he's immediately, our hearts are with the families, and we're like, dude, you took $2 million from the NRA during the 2016 cycle.
That's just one cycle.
Right. I mean, when there's lots of sources on the internet where you can go and look at how much your representative has taken from the National Rifle Association. And I mean, in the end, that rhetoric is what is propping this up. And so, are they going to change? Are they going to walk away from bellying up to that trough? No. This is one of those times when, we've had these shootings before. We say they need to change, but guess what, you guys? It's on us now. This is all on us. The only way it's going to change is for us to block walk, make calls, volunteer to elect candidates who are not going to take that blood money. And that's it. It's on us.
Yeah, I think it's been on us for a while. So the day of the shooting, I was telling my husband, this is the 18th school shooting this calendar year. He's like, no, you mean like the past year? No, this calendar year.
Now, some of those 18 are just kids bringing guns to school and they accidentally shoot. And nobody was killed.
And all of the shootings didn't result in, thankfully, a fatality or even an injury. But technically, they have to record this when they happen. Schools have been brought to guns. Guns have been brought to schools, and like Patti says, some have accidentally gone off. A lot of them have intentionally gone off.
And that statistic is shocking. It came from an organization called Everytown for Gun Safety, and an unfortunate outcome of this week is that statistic was repeated everywhere, and because it is technically true, right. but in reality, Everytown has made somewhat, they've opened themselves up to some criticism for that statistic because of the way that they record that. And so that's exactly what happens every time. Is that gun activists or gun crazy people or people who are so concerned about their alleged Second Amendment requirements pick on something else to change the conversation. They say, well, that statistic's not really true, and Everytown for Gun Safety is full of it, and blah, 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 blah. And, who cares? If it was one, it's too many.
Thank you.
And there were actually 7.
Thank you.
That were mass shootings or where people were injured or killed.
I mean, we're not even 60 days into the year.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with fading it onto mental health. If 17 senators were lying dead on the floor of the United States Capitol, we'd be having a different conversation.
I'm glad you brought that up, the mental health issue, because I take issue with that.
Oh, me too.
Obviously, if anybody is intentionally going out and creating mass killings with whatever, obviously they're not all there.
They're full of rage and anger.
Exactly.
Which is different than mental illness.
To just automatically say all these people are legally insane, that's not true.
It's a very slippery slope for us to immediately fade to talking about mental health. And that's what the president did. That's what they all try to do, because that's taking the emphasis off what it is. But here's the fact. If every person who could be diagnosed with a mental illness in America did those kinds of things, we'd all be dead. Mm-hmm. Also, it seems that most of these shootings are committed by white males.
Thank you.
Mental illness doesn't know any racial or gender boundaries, nor does it know any international boundaries, and they don't have these killings in other countries. So using mental illness as a scapegoat is resist that. Reject that as a premise for an argument any time you hear it.
Right. And what's even more is that when it's a white male, it's mental illness.
Yep.
When it's any person of color, it's thuggery, it's terrorism,
yep.
It's all these things.
I mean,
the racism just in the conversation about cumulative conversation over many years across all of those shootings makes that very, very clear.
The Pulse shootings that was committed by a Middle Eastern American. He was American, but he was of Middle Eastern descent. I don't recall any headlines talking about his mental state. They all immediately just jumped on and said that he was a terrorist.
I think every one of us has had, multiple conversations about this week. But again, I just keep going back to the fact that if you spend the time that you're having arguing with somebody's Uncle Earl about his Second Amendment rights, if you just take that time and dial up a candidate and say, you know what, let me send some text for you instead of arguing with somebody's Uncle Earl whose mind I'm not going to change, that's how we create change.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And we have to show up in November.
Yes.
If you care about this issue and if you complained even once about the response coming from lawmakers and how cliche it is, how mundanely asinine it is, then you have an obligation to speak one more time at the ballot box.
And not just November. I mean, early voting starts on Tuesday, and here's the fact. People say, oh, well, primaries don't count, it doesn't matter as much, blah, blah, blah. But this time it does, because we need to turn out in numbers never before seen so that they will know that we are coming for them.
Yes, especially in Texas.
Especially in Texas. And it is very important that you show up to the polls to vote. And it's also important that you show up today and give us a call at 972-647-1893. It is still Pledge Drive.
Nice segue.
Oh, thank you.
That was beautiful.
Candy Markham always scores David on
I
his
know.
segues.
I hope you're listening, Candy. Tell me how I did.
I'm holding up
compared to
a
Davis.
scorecard that says 10.
Oh, see, and that's why we want to carry it on. But no, please give us a
I'm a
call.
cheerleader.
972-647-1893. There are several different ways to pay. We can take your credit card information we will not keep. You can also send in a check. But you can also do a bank draft. Patti, explain to us, how did that bank draft work?
The bank draft is really, really easy. All you do is give us a call, let us know your name and your contact information, like a phone number, and someone from the Knon, like the Knon station manager or some other staff. There's like 3 on staff here at Knon. We'll call you and help set that up. So that you can just have it draft directly off of your bank account, and like $10 a month. That's an easy thing to do.
Very easy.
For most people, not everybody.
Radio for the price of a pizza.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Or a cup of coffee. Well, Starbucks coffee, but it's still a cup of coffee.
Right. And it's
craft
stuff
cocktail.
that comes off your bank account. But what it does for the station is that if lots of people do that, then it becomes, or a recurring charge on your credit card even. That becomes a steady income that they can count on every month as they make plans. And oftentimes we have to save for a rainy day and actually use our rainy day fund, unlike the state of Texas. It rained in Houston, and we didn't use the rainy day fund.
We didn't use the rainy day fund.
But Knon does prepare for those things, because if we have a problem with our portion of the tower, we have to get it fixed, or we're not on the air. And there are a lot of things that they have to plan for, because it's just maintenance on the whole thing.
And mentioning the tower, just here are some of our monthly expenses to keep a radio show running. The tower lease, that alone is $4,876 a month.
Every month.
Every month. Not every couple of months, not every quarter, every month. The office rent, just to even be able to stay where we are and be able to broadcast, we got to pay the rent. It's $2,700 a month. The electricity averages about $1,100 a month. Insurance, we got to have insurance for this equipment. It's old equipment, but it still needs to be insured. That's $475 a month. So there are costs to running a radio station. It does not go to our big fat salaries. Patti, how much do we get paid again?
The last I checked,
how much was that check?
It was still a big zero.
Still a big zero.
But Gene Soslow, who was just on at the Jewish Music Hour, is now a new board member of the Knon board.
That's right.
And when he announced that he had been elected to the board, I immediately wrote him and said, Gene, can you possibly talk to the board about maybe doing direct deposit of our zero so that we can get that zero faster?
Exactly.
And he said he would look into it and make sure that would happen.
Thank you, Gene. We would appreciate that.
We've spent a lot of time this week talking about the shooting. 17 people died. Take $17 and call right now and pledge $17, or pledge $17 a month. Take that number 17 and give $17 to everything you care about. And that's another way that you create change.
Awesome idea.
Yeah.
Call us at 972-647-1893. Again, that's 972-647-1893. And donate that $17. And if you have more, you double it. Donate $34 and so on. We need it, and we will use it, and we must have it in order to stay on the air.
I'm so impressed with your math skills. I could not have doubled 17 in my
It's from doing homework with my daughter. Otherwise, I forget it all, too. Again, 972-647-1893. Give us a call. We're about to come up on a break, but I want to go back to the terrorist who shot up 17 people unfortunately, this week. And, you would almost think that surely gays don't have anything to do with this story. But we seep in here, too, also. One of the things that he supposedly said, and there's a bunch of there was a long trail of warnings before he did what he did. There's Facebook videos, Facebook posts, and one of the things he said that he wanted to shoot all black people. No, black people should all be chained, and all gay people should be shot in the back of the head.
Yeah, he was a member of quite a number of hate groups.
Yes. So, one of the things that's also irritating about this story is, for years now, the mantra has been, if you see something, say something. If you see something, say something. Well, people had been saying something. How many times do you need to call the FBI and let them know, hey, something's not right with this kid? And apparently the police have been called out to his home 39 times. Now, I think that might have been over the course of 2 or 3 years, but still 39 times, and nobody took it seriously, investigated this kid?
That subject is so fraught with landmines because they faded the heat under the FBI. It was the FBI's fault. They didn't do this. Well, at a time when the FBI is under suspicion for a lot of things and being accused of a lot of things to further political agenda, it was clearly wrong that they missed that. It was clearly wrong. But at the same time, we can't allow that to underscore the other narrative about our intelligence agencies. It's not the same thing. My favorite moment of the week, though, was when the president tweeted that, this guy was unstable and erratic, and when you see that, you should report it. And I'm thinking, and I actually tweeted back at the president, well, okay, I'll report you.
And you weren't alone. There were a lot of people saying, I'd like to report as an unstable, erratic person in the White House. This is his picture.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that's so wild.
But it's true. I mean, I just kind of feel like our arms are tied. What else are we supposed to do with these situations? People are doing what you've asked them to do. And it's still not resulting in anything.
Yeah. What we have to do is elect politicians who do not take money from the gun lobby. And I mean, it's just pretty much that simple to me. I can't really think of anything else besides me, turning red in the face, screaming, and typing. And which clearly does nothing because I've been doing it for a while.
I will say the hero of the week are the kids who survived.
Oh, they have been amazing.
They have been amazing. They deserve a huge round of many applauses. These kids have shown poise. They've been determined, and if not flat out courageous, they've stood up. And some of these kids are just sophomores and juniors. They have stood up, said what they needed to say, and did so unafraid. I can't say enough about these kids. Hopefully they will hang in there. They will hang in there as far as the determination and do make a difference when they become a voting age. Maybe a couple of them already are of 18. I'm not sure.
They've been lashing out in rather blunt ways.
They really have.
At not only Trump, but Congress
Mm-hmm.
And their own members of Congress. And is telling it like it is. They said, your thoughts and prayers are meaningless.
The one bright spot for me in this entire thing has been that I've heard so many teachers talk about how difficult it's been in their schools this week, and not schools that have had shootings yet, but that generation is going to kneecap the National Rifle Association, I hope, because they are so aware of this as an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a break. During this break, give us a call. It is still Pledge Drive, 972-647-1893. We'll be back in a moment on Lambda Weekly.
This is Rollins Gilliland, and I'm listening to Lambda Weekly on 89.3, and darn glad to be doing it.
And welcome back to Lambda Weekly. I am Lerone Landis here today with Patti Fink, our Honorary co-host today is Karen McCrocklin. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is Pledge Drive. Give us a call at 972-647-1893. And Karen, your idea is already taken off. We had a pledge, a listener call in, and she pledged $17.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Well,
Pamela.
thank you.
Thank you so much, Pamela. And again, anybody else out there who wants to pledge $17 or $34 or more,
Or 17 a month,
Yep.
or $17 a month,
or
please.
1,700.
Yeah, $1,700 would end the pledge drive. Probably. I think they're going to get us pretty close to it. So give us a call, 972-647-1893. We do have our usual lovely pledge premiums. And since it's still kind of chilly out there, which I am not complaining about, I hope it hangs on a little longer. You can still call and get those. We got the fleece throw blanket. You can get that. I love those. I have them on. We have them on just about every couch in our house. $60 pledge. And what's your favorite? Is it still the?
I am still raving about for $50 you can get a Knon canvas shopping bag.
Oh
These
yeah,
things are great, folks. They're incredibly sturdy canvas. You can put cans in them. You can put big heavy things that you purchase, and the straps are long enough that you can sling it over your shoulder without, breaking the bag or breaking yourself. And I for $50, it's the I go to the store, to Whole Foods, to Kroger, to Walgreens, and people say, "Oh my God, this bag is awesome!"
it is. It's
Read
not,
the Knon on the side.
it's
an
quality.
awesome bag.
It's sturdy. It's fashionable, and hey, you're doing a good thing for the environment all
So
in
I
one.
pushed in the canvas shopping bag. It saves on plastic and paper. You can reuse this bag. You can wash it.
Mm-hmm.
It's an awesome bag. $50 pledge.
$50 pledge. And another pledge with this $50 that I just love is the Knon backpack. And they just redesigned it this year, and they don't have one hanging up. Not that I could put it up to the microwave for you to see anyway, microphone for you to see anyway, but it's really nice, and it has more pockets on it now, and you can use it for just practically anything. Again, just a $50 pledge. Of course, we always have our T-shirts. Those are available always, and those are pledges of $45. So give us a call at 972-647-1893 and help us get closer to getting to our goal.
972-647-1893.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we go back to this whole school shooting thing. I heard a very intriguing idea this week, and that is to ban private ownership of weapons whose design objective is to kill human beings. So weapons used by the military. I mean, everybody's going to need. Everybody, has a right to own a weapon at home to protect themselves, and certainly people who live in rural areas need a weapon. They're killing snakes. They don't need 45 bullets to kill a snake, but
Right.
they need to kill critters, sometimes that are invasive or predatory, and protect their livestock and all of that. So that's normal, and people have hunting and sporting needs for guns.
A 10-round limit is sufficient for anybody who has a use for a weapon. I'm going to be straight up and tell you right now that I own guns. Now, were guns outlawed, or if I could save the life of a single human being, I would gladly give you my guns. The reason I have guns is because we have a ranch, and then we have reasons to have them there. I got the first one because I hit a deer and didn't kill it, and it made me feel so bad that's why I got it. Okay, I would give those up, but at the same time, this is the bottom line. Without a 14-day waiting period, without sales, no sales by private owners, no sales at gun shows, a 10-round magazine limit, no bump stocks, no cranks, licenses for everyone who has a firearm, child lock requirements. They have fingerprint technology on everything now. Put it on your gun. Mm-hmm. A minimum purchase age, I say 21, but 18, okay. A ban on assault rifles, universal background checks, and a ban on people who have been charged with domestic and convicted of domestic violence from owning guns. That's not a lot to ask. Not a lot to ask. The bottom line is that we can't even do one. Not even one.
Not even one.
And I think the liability insurance needs to be in there too. Yeah. And it needs to be skyrocketed if they have an accident where anyone is injured.
Make it like a car.
Yes, exactly. But this idea that I heard was that you put you ban private ownership of weapons that are designed only to kill people, and rapidly. And make them available only at shooting ranges. How many times have we heard, I only use my AR-15 for target shooting at shooting range? Okay, let's take that. So you go in, you give up your driver's license, just like you do everywhere else for when you rent things. You give forward your proof or purchase of gun liability insurance. You give your gun license information, show them your license, and then you pay a fee, and you can rent it. And you can go out there and shoot your gun and turn it back in and get all that stuff back. And if it walks off the premises, then an APB goes out for you.
Yeah.
For the police.
I like that idea.
I think it's a fine compromise if people want to have that thrill or whatever it is they get from shooting rapid fire, guns like that. That's on them. And so it would be a fine compromise, but they wouldn't be in the streets, and if there were one, you'd know it was illegal.
One of the quick and readily available arguments to do any of the things that Karen just mentioned, as far as to maybe curb assault rifles, is they automatically say, well, I don't want you taking my guns away. That's my right. And I have yet to hear anybody actually make that argument or call for the removal of everyone's guns.
It's never happening. We're saying it all the way through the Obama administration.
Exactly.
He's going to take your guns. And what did he do? The one thing he did on guns was say that you could take your gun now into a national park.
Well,
that wasn't taking your guns away.
Why is that?
Okay, let's start from scratch. If someone is full of rage and anger and they walk into a school, how many people can they kill? Now, if that same person who is full of rage and anger walks into the school with a spoon, how many people do they kill? If they walk in with a knife, how many do they kill? With a shotgun, with a musket, with a handgun, or with an automatic weapon, there's a big difference. So do that math and figure out what you're willing to be okay with. If that shooter had walked into that school with a handgun, there's no way 17 people would be dead. We're talking about weapons that shoot upwards of 50 to 100 rounds per minute.
Right.
That's the sole purpose of the gun. That's why it was designed.
Right.
There's no other purpose for it.
Right.
Don't use the hunting excuse, because
you don't kill a deer with.
You don't kill a deer. You don't kill a boar or anything like that.
You shoot a deer with a rifle that does not allow, because, and I'll say this, in the culture of hunters, a hunter would absolutely give up all of their self-esteem if it took them 50 shots to down a deer.
Right.
It's a skill, and not one that I recommend to everybody, but for those who do that, it's a skill, and they take pride in it. Mm-hmm. And those aren't the people that are shooting automatic rifles. Automatic rifles are being shot by people who are afraid and who are angry and who want something that makes them feel like a big boy.
I just call them penis extenders, but
what?
I just call them penis extenders.
Well, there's that. I was trying to think of better words than that. You nailed it. Without swearing. Yeah, that's good.
And my another idea that I really love was, let's treat gun ownership like the government treats women. It's like, okay, so yeah, you can buy that gun, so you can only get it from these 3 stores in your entire state. So if you got to drive 300 miles, well, then you got to wade through the protesters and somehow get into the building. And then once you're able to do that, then you're going to have to fill out a bunch of paperwork, and then you have to see a doctor, and a doctor is going to decide whether you're eligible or not to apply for a gun. And while he's in there with you, he has to show you the most gruesome photos of adults and bullet-riddled children. For, a good, 15, 20 minutes.
Right.
And then you have to go home and wait for 24 to 48 hours And then you have to come back in through all of those protesters who were calling you, baby killer and all this stuff. Go inside and, finish your paperwork, assuming that you pass your background check. And then you'll be, either given a slip of paper to go wait for another 2 weeks, or you can have your gun right then.
And bury the remains of whatever it is that you shoot.
Yes. Yes, a funeral.
You have to have a funeral for
So
it.
we could do that.
Yeah, hey, it's a good idea.
And the other thing I loved was somebody had tweeted, let's just say thoughts and prayers. Let's ban everybody's guns, ban all the assault rifles, and say, thoughts and prayers on your loss. Because if thoughts and prayers is good enough when people lose their families, it's thoughts and prayers is good enough when people lose their guns.
Yeah, that whole argument also really upsets me because it diminishes the value of thoughts and prayers.
Totally.
When it's used as thoughts and prayers are powerful things. And when it's used as an excuse to keep from addressing an issue, it cheapens that.
It's already been cheapened to pieces, though.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I totally get your point, and I'm totally for thoughts and prayers. And I had an argument online on my own Facebook page with a guy who...
It's a big argument. I've seen it.
Right. You were in that argument. Who simply assumed that those prayers were Christian. And somehow we were being anti-Christian. And I'm like, wow. That's pretty amazing.
Anything to get away from the subject.
Yeah.
At hand.
Well, keep us on the air, and that'll help keep us on subject. Call us at 972-647-1893. Again, 972-647-1893. Give us a call and make a pledge. Make that $17 pledge and help keep us on the air. Switch gears a little bit. One of the highlights of the week in such an awful week, and that is the Winter Olympics.
Oh,
we
the
had
best
two
story.
very openly gay athletes. To my confusion and disappointment, neither of them did medal, but they gave hell of a performances, especially the figure skater Adam Rippon, or is it Rippon?
Rippon.
Karen and I were talking about this before the show. He gave just an amazing performance, and that's kind of the problem I have with subjective sports anyway, even gymnastics. I love gymnastics. Some girl or guy could go out there and just flip perfectly, land, not shaking or anything, and they get an 8. I just don't understand that. But Adam gave a flawless performance, and he didn't medal.
This is absolutely the bright spot in a very dark week, this story. And his performance is one thing, but his presence is another.
Yeah.
And they're both a beautiful thing. There was a great article in Vanity Fair called The Bittersweet Beauty of Adam Rippon. And it was about how, and today it's so what, he's out, a lot of people are out. But it's not really that. It's that he's out in a world that is way behind a lot of the rest of us. Yeah. And more than that, this is the most beautiful thing to me about him, is how he is demonstrating for the literally thousands and hundreds of thousands of young LGBT people who are so just animated by him and what he says and does, is that he didn't say, I'm not going to go to the Olympics because I don't have a quad jump and I can't win, because it's a weird scoring system and with technical merit counts a lot. He didn't say that. He said, you know what? I'm an artist. I'm going to go do what I do to the very best that I can possibly do it, and I'm going to be okay with that. I'm going to make sacrifices. I'm going to eat apples from the gym because I'm broke, and I'm going to go at 28 years old, which is old for an appearance at the Olympics.
It is.
And I'm going to go do that, and I'm just going to go do me, damn it. Mm-hmm. Now, aside from that, the fact that he has been so outspoken about the president and about and refusing to meet with Mike Pence and all that is also inspirational. But the other day, somebody said, well, when are you going to stop talking about this part of it? And he said, I can't. I'm getting thousands of messages from young LGBT people who are saying, you inspire me, so I can't stop.
Right.
And you know what? That is absolutely gorgeous.
It is. I mean, but I can't say enough good things about somebody who understands their position, their moment in that particular time.
And his responsibility.
And they are They're doing it. They're taking control of it because there's always been somebody, whether has been a minority in a position of power or position of high visibility, but they back off from the controversial whatever. But he's not. He's not, like you said. He can't. So that's incredibly admirable. Same thing with the other openly gay athlete we have there, and that's Gus Kentworthy. He's the freestyle skier, and he didn't place it either, but he made history because after his performance, he is now in the Winter Olympics the first openly gay person to share a kiss on live television with his partner.
It was fantastic.
It was fantastic. And did you see the background? They switched over and all these rainbow flags.
Right.
Like, this is awesome.
Right.
Awesome. And the fact that it's being done on Korean soil.
Yeah.
Right.
That is just amazing.
There are only 14 out athletes at all across all 206 countries.
Oh, really?
Only 14 that are out. And we know there are more because they're just not
of course
saying so out loud. But a third U.S. The U.S. has 3 of those 14, and the third one is Brittany Bowe, who's the speed skater. And she's phenomenal.
Yeah,
she's really phenomenal. And I wouldn't be surprised if she medals. If she hasn't already. I don't think she has yet.
I've been watching the Winter Olympics since I was a little kid with rapt attention. My mother's a huge figure skating fan, and I remember all I wanted for my birthday when I was like 5 was for Peggy Fleming to win the gold medal.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So I've been watching forever. And there's been a lot of gay figure skaters before. A lot.
A lot.
And a lot of them come out after they retired. But for them to do this now is just it's another groundbreaking moment.
We need to take a break. We'll be right back. But during that time, please give us a call at 972-647-1893. Again, 972-647-1893. We'll be right back with more Lambda Weekly.
Hi, this is Valletta Lil, and I listen to Lambda Weekly. I hope that you will too.
And welcome back to Lambda Weekly. We want to thank Ruth for her $17 pledge.
Thank you, Ruth.
Thank y'all. That's so great.
That is great. Give us a call back and make more of those $17 pledges at 972-647-1893. So, Karen talked about before the show, she kind of has some little issues with Facebook. We all know that Facebook can be really addicting, but we also know that it's kind of, it can be irritating with what you see, what you don't see. You're part of these so-called algorithms. But one of the things that came out this week in the Russia investigation is that absolutely there were some Russian individuals who played a part in the election meddling. And I'm sure Facebook played a part of that.
Played a part?
Well, I'd just like to note, I've been on Facebook for 10 years, and when I first joined, a coworker of mine came on my page and said, "Welcome to the biggest time suck you'll ever experience."
And she was right.
I think about that now every time I go on Facebook. It's a big time suck.
It is.
But from other people, I mean, because it's a big time suck and so many people are spending their time that way, the Russians had, we were sitting ducks.
Yeah, big time.
Well, I published a rip roar this morning about this subject, and I realize the irony of publishing it on Facebook. But I actually did it on a separate site because I'm going to try to migrate off this. But here's the bottom line. I helped Facebook make money from the Russians interfering in our election.
How'd you do that?
So did you.
We all did.
If you're on Facebook, you did that. There are literally, in the indictment and that was released on Friday, the name of Facebook's companies, Facebook and Instagram, was mentioned 41 times.
Wow.
By contrast, Twitter was mentioned 7 times and YouTube was mentioned once. It is absolutely clear beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Russians used Facebook as a vehicle for interfering in our election. And the number of ways that and all of the every ick thing that surrounds that and why that is really something that is going to be, I think, the next big thing for all of us to face, because we all know that feeling of, oh my God, what am I going to see on Facebook today? Who am I going to argue with? What horrible subject's going to come up? Or the feeling of, why did I just waste so much time? Those are familiar things to us. But when you look at how your data, my dog pictures and my birthday helped Russia interfere in our 2016 election. There is a clear link. There's clear evidence. There are clear facts. And I went into it at length in this piece, but the bottom line is we got to face this, you guys. And I really believe in my heart that Mark Zuckerberg created something that he has no idea what it can do and the power of it. We all know how they control what we see, and we let them do it, and we all know that they use our data. I went in and looked, and I have 150 apps that I have given permission to access my data. And you know what that means? If you're my friend, and both of you are, guess what? They're accessing yours too, because I let them. 150 apps. And you know how long it took me to find those, to take them off? A long time. Is that by design? What is that about? Yeah, remember back in the days when everybody was drunk on this idea that I can find my friends from elementary school, and there was this big thing where everyone was going around about, wow, they're going to charge us to use Facebook. Well, they used that against us. They said, no problem, we won't charge you. Just give us all of the metadata and all of your pictures. Tell us where you're going every day. Tell us who your friends are. Tell us where you went to school. And then take our quizzes. And in our quizzes, we want you to give a very clear photo of our faces so that we can tell you what you would look like if you were a dog or whatever it is. Or take my quiz and give me and make a funny sentence out of the last 4 digits of your phone number. Now, I know where you live, so it's not real hard to go through the area codes and the prefixes to figure out which phone number is now too.
So basically, nothing is for free.
And on and on, and we are all absolute rubes and patsies and just letting them do it. I am not a conspiracy theory type of person, but this is absolutely out of control and is wrong. And Mark Zuckerberg himself has said he can't guarantee us that it's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
And you know what my feeling is? Shut it down then. I know you have investors and employees to worry about, but I have a country to worry about, so I win. Fix it or shut it down.
Right.
Do you think
I agree with you wholly.
that, Pandora's box has been open and there's really nothing we can do about it? Or do you think we need to create an alternative to Facebook?
I think in a perfect world it'd be great to create an alternative. Is that going to happen? No. I think what happens is they have to have some responsibility. They've started this new thing now about how they're testing that individuals need to help them figure out what trusted news sources are. Okay, if they can't take the responsibility to say the New York Times and the Washington Post are credible news services, these people are taking zero responsibility for an absolute monster that they have created. So I think the answer, I'd love to stay there, but you know what? I will pay you $50 a year to find out what my mother is doing if you agree to not give my birthday to Russians.
And you know what makes me crazy? They say all this stuff in the mainstream media that they're against fake news and fake news sites and all this, but all you have to do is go on Facebook and go to home and your news feed, and over here to the right every single day is an ad that says everyone's warning Sally Fields.
Well,
and that's Sally Fields is very much alive.
Right.
She has been alive every day that ad has run, and that is up every single day. And I have written to Facebook and said, you lie through your teeth. Here's this thing sitting up here saying Sally Fields is dead, and this is just a tiny, tiny little example.
Right.
Talk about lying through your teeth. Let me give you 2 examples. First of all, the indictment illuminated the fact that this group in St. Petersburg, Russia, had a monthly budget of $1 million. Wow. Monthly. Now, Facebook was their biggest target. Facebook reported a $7 billion profit in the third quarter of 2016.
Billion.
So
Billion.
But Facebook says, oh, the Russian ads only accounted for a few $100,000 in our revenue. Now, I already know that's not true. And you know why? Maybe that's what they spent on these ads. But you know what? Every time I took time out of my day to say that's bullshit, pardon me, that's not true, then what did I do? I added to the impressions on those ads and made money for Facebook. This is how it works. I spent a ton of time in the last couple of years acting as a consultant to help people figure out how to get around this when they had something to advertise. I've used it myself. I know how to game Facebook all day long. And you know what? Everybody shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want them to pick who I can see. I don't want to put everybody on my on my friends list as my cousin. I don't want them to not even have the guts to say, this is real news and this is not.
Right.
Do you think it's going to take losing Facebook accounts, people deleting their accounts? And I would imagine it would take a lot of deleting Facebook accounts for Mark Zuckerberg to make some serious changes.
I don't know. He's hired a PR firm to monitor his public image. Which is clearly something he cares about. And let me tell you, I'm a little late to this train in terms of the people in Silicon Valley. I've heard a ton of people already talking about this. And the fact of the matter is they just lost a $150 million lawsuit in Belgium about internet privacy, about this specific thing. And you know what they're doing? They're appealing it. You know why they're appealing it? Because it's going to open Pandora's box. Because literally, we could own them if that kind of lawsuit were available in the United States. And it isn't, because we have different laws and we have different rules and they have different things. But the bottom line is, if they don't take and accept the responsibility that they have, the backlash, wherever it comes from, is going to destroy them. And I don't know where it's going to come from, because I don't know that it's like quitting drinking. I don't know that many people that are going to go, I know this is bad for me, I have to quit, and actually do it. They're not going to. But at the same time, we all feel terrible about it. So the point is, things are about to change.
Oh, I hope so.
You know,
go ahead.
You know what's interesting? I read an article this week about it's an analogy to Facebook, but that was used successfully in the Senate race in Alabama. And they're talking about the social media aspect and the social interaction aspect of yard signs. Now, traditionally, I mean, I happen to love yard signs, and kind of for the same way that that this article talks about. But most campaign managers, politicians, even voters will say, well, yard signs can't vote. I mean, it's been the mantra for decades. And bumper stickers can't vote, and, you know, hats and stuff can't vote. But what they found, and the campaign manager for Doug Jones, who prevailed in that election in Alabama, was that it gave permission to people who might have supported the child molester to vote for Doug Jones, because they saw so many neighbors. And when 8 houses on your block you see the yard sign for the other guy, and you know those 8 neighbors, it makes a difference. And people were asking each other, where did you get your yard sign? I'd like to have one too. And it was not just a statement to each other to give Republicans permission. It was also a statement that I am not one of them to have a Doug Jones yard sign. And I don't buy this crap. I don't buy what they're giving him a pass on all of these accusations. And it was a way of posting on your Facebook page, was putting a yard sign in your yard.
That's the only reason I get into the arguments that I get into, is because it gives people permission to say, wait a minute, there is another idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are coming up in an hour, but so I want to remind everybody, we still have a few minutes. Give us a call and make a pledge. 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. Show us the love with that $17 or $34 or whatever, however much you have. $1,700. That would be fabulous. Give us a call at 972-647-1893. I do have one quick small story before we before we go. And this is out of Florida also. A teacher married her female partner this week. When she went back to work, they found out about it. They terminated her. Now, she did work for a Catholic school. And as sad as it is, as upsetting as it is, I can't help but think, well, are you surprised? Just wonder what get you all thoughts about that, because I always think about it is somewhat our responsibility. It's not responsibility how people act towards us, but when you're talking about religious institutions, why would you even put yourself in that?
Well, I used to have the same argument about gays in the military, like, why do you go if they don't want you? But then I realized that those people do create change. But I understand that in this particular instance, she signed a contract that said that she would abide by the Archdiocese of Miami's rules. Well, so,
right.
That's a tough one.
And I think it was interesting to me, most interesting piece of this was that the parents who had kids in that school in her class came pleading to the administration.
They did. They came to her defense.
Continue to teach. They said she was the most fantastic teacher her kids had had. She had rapport and strong relationship with each and every one of them. They were learning. They were excited to be in her class, and they came home excited that they had a teacher that was so great. And would you please put her back in place, because now they're going to put all these kids in other classes or get a different teacher. And I just thought that was the most poignant.
That's where the change gets made. Right? Hearts and minds.
Right. And I totally agree with you, Patti. They did go to bat for her, and that is how real change is made. But I just know me personally, because I'm always kind of like looking out there, for not looking for a job, but keeping my eyes open. I don't even apply for a job unless I see sexual orientation and gender expression in that company, and I look for it in that company's discrimination policy. So I don't know. What was that? Go ahead.
Yes, but.
Yes, Josh.
But.
Yeah.
I think, though, that some people are just not in economic positions to not take the job for that reason. So
Agreed.
I think that at the end of the
Good
day,
point.
I respect the Catholic Church's, policies, but at the end of the day, she had every right to be married. And
absolutely.
Right. And
Absolutely.
so I just think that they, shame on that school and shame on that archdiocese.
Don't you think it's interesting that we've reached a point where we would even say this? Because it used to be that everything we did had those consequences. And now we're like,
right.
don't do it because, you don't have to.
Right.
Well, but that's how we got here, was by doing it, even though...
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. I just know that when it comes to religious institutions, no court is going to side with us as far as their discrimination policy. It hasn't happened yet. So
But I think part of in her contract with the school, though, it mentioned moral turpitude, and she didn't believe herself to be committing moral turpitude by marrying her wife.
right. That's true. Good
I
point.
love some turpitude. don't you?
I do want to thank one other
It's a great word to say.
one other caller, Ruth. Ruth called and made another pledge, and $17.
Ruth, you're awesome.
Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you, Ruth.
Yeah. So again, we're wrapping up the show, but please give us a call. We'll be here for a few minutes afterwards, so we'll be here for however long it takes afterwards to take your call. 972-647-1893. Again, it's 972-647-1893. Karen, it's always a delight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And if you read more about this Facebook thing, you can start by going to www.thekarenword.squarespace.com.
And
Will
that's where
do.
your whole piece will be on there.
I blew it out, baby.
Thank you all. Please tune in next week for Lambda Weekly. Have a great week.
This is William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please leave comments below, or like, follow, or subscribe to us and get notices of all our videos. We love it, even when you call.